Welcome everybody to the Motivate Podcast Show. I am your host, Rich Wall Street Williams. And hey, man, at the Motivate Podcast Show, we always say less, but we definitely believe for more. I'm really excited. We're continuing our conversation on the way that you practice. Your performance is a prophecy of the way that you practice. Your performance in life, your performance in your marriage, your performance in relationships, your performance at work, all of it is a prophecy of the way that you practice. The way that you practice. On the last episode of Motivate Podcast Show, I shared with you one of the things that I did in practice is that I focused on being the highest percentage of shooter on the basketball team. And how did that happen? I wasn't the shooting guard. I wasn't necessarily the go-to guy for that shot. That wasn't my job. My job was to be the power forward and or the center to pound the boards, get the rebounds, kick it out, keep the ball in rotation, take the little 10, 8, or 6-foot jump shot, right? That was my role, my job. And I decided that no one's going to be better at doing that job than me. And so what I did was I would take free throw shot after free throw shot. I would practice the 10-foot jumper, the 8-foot jumper, the little turnaround jumper at the baseline. I practiced those shots. And subsequently, as a result, I was the highest percentage shooter on my team. That came from practice. The performance on the floor was a prophecy or foretelling of how I practice. I saw a little video clip and Deion Sanders. Everyone know who Deion Sanders is. The Dallas Cowboys, etc. Now he's a college football coach, Mr. Deion Sanders, or AKA Mr. Highlight. Yeah, I saw a little clip where he talked about the importance of practice, and let's check it out, Mr. Deion Sanders.
My top plays happened in Fort Myers, Florida, when none of you knew anything about me. My top plays happened when there was no camera there. See, those are the plays you just caught on camera. Those weren't my top plays because I practiced like I played, so when I played, it would be practice. Yeah, you were supposed to clap right there because that was straight.
Amen to that. Yeah. Come on, get up to practice place.
So there's somebody out there right now, the light ain't on you, but keep making plays. Nobody's talking about you, but keep making plays.
That's right.
I know your sales numbers aren't where your friend is, but keep making plays. I know nobody's talking about you, and you're not on the leaderboard right now, but baby, keep making plays.
How about that? Keep making plays. You said the camera isn't on you, but keep making plays. And that's the importance of practice. A lot of times we focus on the performance. A lot of times we focus on, in my case, I'm in sales. So we look at sales performance. In sales, they have the KPI, key performance indicators. We have the sales matrix. So we're measuring ourselves against a standard. Right. And so maybe to Deion Sanders' point, maybe you're not on the leaders board. Maybe you're not crushing it the way that you desire and want to crush it. But Deion Sanders and his style and his process, his style, he said, keep making plays. And that's what this conversation is all about. It's about you and I doing the things off the field that causes a celebration on the field. The way I live my private life is a prophecy of the way that my public life is. See, don't get excited. Don't get enamored by that person that you see on the floor. But get excited, get enamored by the person that you don't see on the floor. When the cameras are off, the lights are off, there's no one else around. What does your family say about you? How are you at home? Right? That's practice. Maybe you're not a sports athlete. Maybe you're not in sales. You're not in corporate sales, right? But you still play a role, whether you're a husband, mother, father, friend, auntie, uncle. It doesn't matter. There are things that you and I do. There are things that you and I do in our private life, practice that leads to it. So we're having a conversation on progress. What is progress? Progress is a performance of prophecy of the way that we practice. What is progress? Progress is forward or onward movement towards a destination. So if I'm going to have onward movement, if I'm going to have movement on forward movement towards a destination, then that means that there's something that I got to do that's going to propel or cause that forward movement to happen. Progress is the development, it's advancement, it's headway. You and I, friend, if we're going to have any kind of headway in life, if we're going to have any type of headway in life, it's going to require us to have a certain personal discipline. Let me ask you a question. If you are a sales professional and you're watching this broadcast, how many books have you read that relates to sales? It doesn't matter. Name any industry. You're in manufacturing. How many books have you read as relates to manufacturing? Hey, Rich, I drive a forklift machine. How many books, how many videos have you read as it relates to being a top ranked forklift operator? Hey, Rich, I'm a CDL. I'm a truck driver, right? I drive the 18 wheels. I'm on the road. How many books have you read as it relates to being a top performing CDL driver? Name any profession, any arena in life. I'm a single mom, how many books have you read that relates to being a successful mom? Hey, I'm starting out my business. I'm a young entrepreneur. I'm a young millennial. How many books have you read? Right? How many books have you read as relates to the endeavor, the desire that you have? So you got to understand that if you're going to have any type of headway in life, if you're going to have any type of progress in life, what you and I do off the field is very, very vital. So if you got a B as an example on your last test, and then you get a B plus, that's progress. Forward movement. See, it's small movement that makes the big movement at the end of the day. If you and I can improve our lives by 1%, if we can improve our lives by just 1% every day, 90 days later, we have 90% improvement in our lives. Right. So I'm really just focusing in on this idea of having progress in life. Small movement is better than no movement at all. Come on, somebody. Small movement is better than having no movement at all. So let's look at this word prophecy. What is a prophecy? And I said this earlier. Prophecy, friend, is nothing more than a prediction of something to come. A prophecy is a prediction of something to come. You show me your books that you read on a monthly basis, a yearly basis, and I'll show you a prediction of where you're going to be. You show me the people that you have in your life right now, your team, your close group association. You show me who your friends are in life, and I'll show you a prediction of where you're going in life. Pastor Mike, the senior pastor of Spirit of Faith Christian Center. Listen, I always want to give a shout out to Pastor Mike and Dr. Didi. To me, in my estimation, they are generals in the body of Christ. Pastor Mike and Dr. Didi. Pastor Mike always says that you got to hang with people that have your answers and get away from people who have your problems. Winning has to be modeled first before there is an expectation second. You got to model winning, right? So you got to put yourself in the winner circle. You got to put yourself in the winner environment. You got to have a winner mindset if you're going to have some kind of headway in life. And so this idea of practice, what you and I do off the field, practice simply means to perform an activity or exercise a skill repeatedly or regularly in order to improve or maintain one's proficiency. When it comes to fatherhood, whoever thinks about practicing being a father? When it comes to motherhood, whoever thinks about practicing becoming a mom, being effective motherhood? When it comes to marriage, whoever thought of practicing in your marriage? Whoever thought about that? Most people don't. But let me tell you this, friend, that the way that you practice off the field, now, when I say off the field, I'm talking specifically about when the lights are off and the cameras are off and there's no one else around. Maybe it's just you and your significant other. Those moments, the disciplines that you create in those moments, that's going to set the stage for your performance. I don't know about you, but I am done with mediocrity in my life. Mediocrity build bridges to nothingness. Mediocrity, average to me, build bridges to nothingness. So you got to understand that practice, practice the way that you and I practice. That sets the platform. That sets the stage for our performance. You know, I mentioned this earlier about the highest percentage free throw, the highest percentage shooter on my team. I did that in practice. That was accomplished in practice off the field between games. On a Saturday, I go to the park by myself, my basketball, and I would just shoot free throws after free throws after free throws after free throws. Practice. It makes a difference. I read this quote the other day, and I shared this with you in closing, friend. And it said this. It said that an amateur practices until they get it right. A pro practice a pro practices until they can't get it wrong. An amateur practices until they get it right. A pro practices until they can't get it wrong. Man, I'm telling you, you gotta have this mindset for some progress, to see progress in your life. I said this before at the beginning of the year, and I'll say it again, that for me, I measure progress, but on December 31st, 2023, if I'm in the same place in my mind, in my thinking, if I'm in the same place in my finances, if I'm in the same place professionally, then I've lived the year, and I personally, this is just rich. I personally feel as though I've lived the year and I wasted time. Man, I sure hope you enjoy our conversation about practice and having progress in life, because our performance is a prophecy of the way that you practice. Hey, I'm Rich Wall Street Williams on the Motivate Podcast Show. On the Motivate Podcast Show, we always say less, but we definitely believe for more. I hope you enjoy it. I'll see you at the top. The bottom just too crowded. Let's go.